Hi everyone. In this video, we are going to learn one of the AWS service called IAM. Here, we are going to learn what is IAM service and where we are going to use this IAM service. Everything we are going to discuss in detail in this session. Let us understand what do we mean by IAM service. Here, IAM stands for Identity and Access Management. In the name itself suggests it is a service which is used to create user and control the access to AWS resources by using identity and access management. Like, suppose if you want to access the AWS resources, so I just want to restrict because of if one user can log into my account, he is going to delete the entire environment. It is going to lose the business. So that's why even though I am going to provide the permission to the user to access my environment, but he cannot be able to perform all the tasks based on the permissions, based on the roles, based on the policies which I had set. The concerned user will be able to perform specific tasks as per the organization requirement. How we can be achieved? That is the IAM concept. So here, first of all, let us understand about the users. Here, user is nothing but it is a person or an application that requires AWS action to perform the actions on AWS resources. Here, it is clearly indicates that it represents I am going to create one user. Either I am going to provide console access or the programmatic access. Based on the requirement, I am going to provide certain permissions to the user. Like role. The role is nothing but it is going to grant temporary permissions to the AWS resources. Means it is going to generally roles we are going to assign it to users. So based on the roles, he can be able to access or perform the specific task over the AWS resources. Policies. Generally, what we think about the policies? Policies is nothing but organization policies. So we must and should need to obey the policies which has been provided by the set by the organization. So how we are going to set the policies, everything we are going to discuss in detail in the practical session. And permission, as you know now, what do you mean by permission? Either allow or deny. So based on the permission, the user will be able to access the application or environment or deny the access to the environment. So how we are going to permission based on the requirement. Suppose if user needs to access that, I am going to provide the permission as allow. If I don't want to allow the permission, then I am going to deny the permission. So simple things. You just need to understand in detail. And let us understand the restrictions like limitations. Suppose if I have the AWS account, if I am holding the AWS account, there is some kind of default quota is there and maximum quota is there. Suppose coming to the policies, by default, if I have the AWS account, the default quota is 1500, means up to 1500 policies I can be able to create. And if I want to increase my quota, yes, that is possible. And the maximum quota is 5000. And if I have the account, the number of groups per account is default quota is 300 and maximum is you can be able to create 500 groups per account. And profiles means users. I can be able to create the 1000 users by default without having any permissions. But if I want to create the more than 1000 users, I can be able to exceed the quota. Up to 5000 users I can be able to create. And policies. So if I have the role, how many policies I can be tagged to that particular role? Default 10. If I want to extend, it would be 20. And policies, I can be tagged 10 policies to user. It is a default quota. Suppose if I want to extend, the maximum is 20. 20 policies I can be attached to user. And how many policies I can be attached to group? That is also 10. The default quota is 10 and the maximum quota is also 10. Both are same here. And the roles per account. By default quota is 1000 roles I can be able to create per account. And if I want to increase the quota up to 5000 roles I can be able to create per account. And the service accounts means service certificates. So default we have the 20 service server certificates are there. And if I want to extend the quota, I can be able to create the 1000 server certificates per account. Generally, what is the purpose of creation of certificate? For a secure authentication, we are going to deploy the certificates. So if I have the valid certificate in a market, we can procure the certificates. We have the certificate vendors are there. So based on the requirement, we are going to procure the certificates. Fine. So I think you have some understanding about the theoretical section. What is IAM? Where we are going to use this IAM? Generally, the identity access management is used to restrict the user to perform the activities over the AWS. Means I'm going to provide the restriction to user, what he can be able to do and what he cannot be able to do. So based on the things which I had set, accordingly he can be able, or the particular application can be able to access my AWS resources. Let us understand in detail by doing the practical session. I just made login into the AWS console. Here right now I am in the default page. Right now means console home, console page. So here if you are able to find in the recent visit, then you can click on accordingly. Otherwise, just go through the universal search bar. Just type IAM. Then you will be redirected to the Identity Access Management Service. So here on the left side, you can be able to see here we have the user groups, users, roles, policies. That different things are there. Just click on users. Right now you are in the IAM dashboard. Here if you observe, here 0 user groups are there. There is groups. User groups is about the groups. As you know, what do you mean by group? Group is nothing but collection of users. Suppose, for example, in general words, you have WhatsApp group. Means some set of WhatsApp users. You are combining them into one group. In the similar way, if I have some users, I am going to group some set of users into one group. Whatever the permission I had applied to that group, that will be applicable to the all the users which are in that particular group. Roles. As we have some default roles which has been provided by the AWS. Right now I have some 25 default roles along with that 9 default policies I have. That is not the custom things. It has been defaultly provided by the AWS. So right now I am going to create one user. So right now I don't have any user. So I am going to create the user one. Okay. Just click on create user. So the name of the user is user one. And if I want to provide the console access to the user, I am going to provide, I just need to click here. So for lab activity, I am going to show out to you each and everything. So I am going to create the user. The name of the user is user one. And for that user, I am going to provide the AWS console management access. So that's why I just made a here. Click on next. Cancel. Specify a user in the identity center recommended. So right now I don't have some kind of identity center. I am going to create the IAM user. So the password, if you want to set the password, you can, it is auto generated. Otherwise, if you want to set a custom password, you can. I am going to set some default password. Okay. And just click on next. And user must create a new password at next sign in. Because of here, if you enable this option, what will happen? At the time of initial login, initially it is going to accept the password which I had set here. Then once the user made login, it is asking the user to set the password himself. But I don't want like that. So for that reason, I am going to disable this option. Means I am uncheck it. Just click on next. And here it is asking you are going to create a user. And did you want to add that user in the any group, or you want to set some permissions? Like if you have any existing user, if you want to copy the permission from the existing user to the user which you are going to create, you can use the second option, that is copy permissions. And you have the third option, like attach policies directly. If you have any policies which is currently available, and if you want to attach the policies to the user, that is nothing but IAM user directly, here by using this option, you can be able to attach the policies to the IAM user which you are going to create. So right now I am going to attach policy directly. Just search for some policy, like I am going to provide S3. Search Here I am going to provide Amazon S3 full access. Means if I am going to provide this policy, what will happen? The user have the rights to do anything in the S3 service, and other than this S3 service he don't have access to do anything. So right now I am going to provide only S3 full access to the user. Okay, just click on next and just click on create user. The user will be created soon. So as I had already set the password, and I am going to create one new integrate tab. Just type AWS, just click here, click on sign in, then check. It is asking me to enter the account ID, IAM username, password. So what is my account 12-digit number? So here, just click here. Here this is the account ID. Just copy the same and go to this browser, copy here, paste here. Okay. The username which I am going to create is user1, and password is, I had set the password. Just make sign on. Earlier I am going to use login as a root user, but right now with the help of the IAM user I am going to log in into the AWS page. So this is my account. This is, suppose you can assume this is a organization account. Who had created the organization? His account. So here he had created one user. This user has the only access to the S3 service only. So just go to S3 account. Try to create some bucket. So I am going to create bucket. Just go to general purpose bucket and click on create bucket, and just BUCK80 bucket, some random name. Lastly you can observe 949. Okay, I am going to block all this. Okay, and acknowledge it. Okay, leaving everything, just click on create bucket. Is this user will be able to create the bucket or not? Obviously yes, because of I had provided the entire S3 full access to this user. So that's why he can be able to do anything over the S3 service. But my requirement has been changed. I just want to create the EC2 service. Just click on EC2 service. So here, you see, you are not authorized to perform this operation because of, as I am not provided the EC2 access to this user. So because of that reason, it is going to restrict this user to create the EC2 server. Got my point? I didn't have provided the permission. So because of that reason, it is not providing the user to create the EC2 server. In this way, we can restrict the user how much extent I want, that much extent I can be able to provide the permission to user. More than that, it can't allow. Even though if you user want to delete each and everything environment, he can't be able to do. Other than S3 bucket, he can't be able to do anything regarding the environment. Yes. Suppose my requirement has been changed. So for every user, .csv file will be there. You just need to download the .csv file for the future reference. It has the credentials. Fine. Again, get back to IAM users, and here in this scenario, I want to provide some programmatic access. Suppose if I want to integrate some third-party app with the AWS service, so how I can be able to do that? Or assume it would be a AWS CLI tool. So I had installed AWS CLI tool on my local machine, and from my local machine, I just want to access to the AWS resources. So for that I want to provide the programmatic access to the user. So how I can be able to provide the programmatic access? So just click on users, create user. Here I am going to create user 2 with programmatic access. So here I am not going to provide the management access. I am purely going to provide the programmatic access to the user. Just click on next and click on attach permissions directly. I am going to provide the administrator access to this user, means he can be able to do anything on my environment. And just click on next and create user. So the user will be created. Just once user has been created, just log on into click on that particular user which you have created. Just go to security credentials. Here you have the access keys. Just click on create access key. It is asking you why you are going to create the access keys. If you want to use it for the CLI command line interface, yes, you can select. Otherwise, if you want to plan to use this key to enable application code in a local development environment to access your AWS account, you can select the local code. If you have application running on AWS compute service, you can use this. If you want to integrate the third-party service with the AWS, you can select the fourth one. If you have an application which is running outside of the AWS, but you just want to access your AWS account or AWS service in order to run the code, you are going to select this. And other than the above listed reasons, if you have any specific reason, you are going to select the other. But right now, as I told you, I just want to integrate my local machine as I had downloaded CLI on my local machine. I just want to access the AWS resource from my local machine through CLI. So for that reason, I am going to make this user. So just select the first thing, CLI. Just click on next. Here you just need to accept the terms. Here it is asking you to for confirming. Just I had made confirmation. Just click on next and description something. It's your wish. If you want, you can just click on create access key. Download sample file, means download .csv file. It is mandatory for every user. And here I have two keys, access keys and secret keys. Okay, done. So right now the user 1 have the management console access and the user 2 have the programmatic access. If you observe, for while creating user 2, it is not asking me to set any password because of I am not make the user 2 for the console login. If I make it for console login, it is definitely asking me to set the password, but it is going to create for the programmatic access. So that's why the access key and secret key has been generated. It should be needed very carefully, because of if anybody has that secret key and access key, they will be able to access our AWS environment. He can do anything because of as I had provided the administrative access to that user 2. So be careful while creating the secret key and access key, and make sure it will be associated with the proper user only. If it is in wrong hands, that will create a serious serious harm to your organization. So, and let us understand about the rules. So up to now we have the users and user groups. So suppose if up to now we had look into the users, right now I am going to step up into the user groups, nothing but simply called as groups. As I told you, group is nothing but creation of user, group of users, collection of users. So I am going to create group. The group name is group 1, and I am going to add the user 1 and user 2 into this group. Otherwise I am going to add this user 1 into the administrative group 1. Just understand, I am going to create the group. The name of the group is group 1, and I am going to add the user 1 into the group 1, and for the group I am going to provide the administrator access. Just click on create group. So what it will do, it is going to create the group with the name group 1, and in that group I have one user right now. The name of the user is user 1, and have a look on it. Just click on the group 1. Right now you have one user, and I had provided the permission administrative access. So what are the permission which has been applied to that group? The same policy will be applicable to the all the users which are in that group. So right now I had provided administrative access. Earlier the user one will only have the S3 full access, but right now the user one is in the which group 1, and group 1 have the permission of administrative access. So if you want to confirm the same, right now if you refresh it, right now you can be able to create the EC2 service because of the user 1 didn't have the policy to create. It is only having the permission to create the S3 bucket, but right now the user 1 is in the group 1 group. The group 1 have the permission of entire administrative access. So because of that reason, right now I can be able to do anything with the help of user 1 because of it is in the group 1, it have the administrative access permission. So this is about groups. And if you think about the roles, what do you mean by roles? So by default we have some roles are there. So in AWS we have two types of roles are there. One is default roles which has been given by the AWS, and you have one more role that is custom roles. So if you have some specific kind of requirement, based on your requirement you are going to create a role, and that role will be attached to the IAM user or any AWS resources. That is your choice. You can do anything. And one more thing, while I am going to providing the administrative access, means while earlier I had created one IAM user with programmatic access. If I want to delete any access key in that, as I had created two keys, one is access key and the other is secret key. If I want to delete any access key, first of all I need to deactivate the key. Once I had deactivated the key, then only I can be able to delete that key. At the same time, maximum how many keys I can be able to generate? I can be able to generate 2 access key for one user. And just have a look on about, suppose if you want to create any kind of new role, that is customized role, just click on create role and just select what is your select trusted entry. So suppose if you select the AWS account, okay, then this is for this account, or you want to set it for another account. I just want to make this for account only, so that's why I'm going to select the first option. Just click on next, and here it is asking you what you want to set. Here I'm going to select the administrative access. So what are the things? Suppose instead of administrative access I'm going to select S3. Okay, so Amazon S3 read only access. Okay, just click on next, and role name S3 read only, and yes, S3 read only. So this is the role S3 read only. So if you click here, so if I am attached this role to the any user, that particular user will be only able to read the S3 service, but he can't be able to do any kind of creation activities or deletion activities because of he didn't have the access. I just only provide the read only access to this user with the help of role. So in this way the roles will be useful. Continue. And finally, if we have a look on this policies, the policies plays very important role. So based on the policies, it is going to define, means if I am going to create policy, everything will be restricted to the policy have that much power. Okay, in policies we have two policies are there. AWS given policy, at the same time if you want to create any custom policy you can. So based on your requirement you can select the policies. Generally the policies can be in two things. Either we can be used like in a graphical user interface, we can be able to create the policies. Select the service. Suppose I am going to select the EC2, and it is going to allow the action. Which actions you want to allow? Allow all actions. Otherwise, you have the list things here. So from this you can select, and so based on the things you can select the policy. Next, so just all resources. So click on next, the policy name, it is asking you to describe, so each and everything. So in this way we can create the policy. Suppose if you want to create the policy by using the JSON format, how you can be able to create. So we have some AWS policy generator, AWS policy generator. If you click the AWS policy generator, means why you are using AWS policy generator. If you want to generate the policy with the help of the JSON script, then you are going to use the AWS policy generator. There are several ways. In any way you can be able to deploy. So click on AWS policy generator. Here you have such things. So based on the things which it is going to reflect here, you can make a JSON policy. So generally in this way, the policy name is policy 1. So description, you can set like this. Description, it is optional, no worries. So this is the policy, which is nothing but it is going to provide the EC2 full access. If you create the policy, if I'm attaching this policy to anything, the policy can be attached to user or that can be AWS resources. So based on this policy, it is going to provide the access to the particular AWS service. So in this way, we can be able to create IAM users, IAM groups, IAM roles, IAM policies. In this way, we can be able to restrict the users in order to perform the specific task over the AWS cloud. Based on the policies, based on the roles, based on the things, they can be able to perform the specific task over the environment. Hope you guys understand. Yes, thank you. And thank you guys for attending this session, and thank you so much. At the same time, please subscribe my channel, and at the same time share with your friends, who is not only friends, you can share with your colleagues as well who is interested. And as I am going to tell you every time, whoever is interested, please ping me your queries on the comment section. At the same time, if you are interested to get the material as well, you can ping me on chat section your email ID. Accordingly, I will add your email ID to Google Classroom. Accordingly, you will be able to access the material which is related to these sessions. Okay, that will be really helpful for you while performing the lab activity from your end, while doing lab activity. Okay, and thank you so much guys, and I will meet up you in the next session with a new topic. Until signing off, thank you, bye bye.